explain it. Um, the journey, it's been a combination of everything, reiterating and re-diving and reestablishing the relationship with God, getting in the Word, connecting with brothers, resharpening the tools and the blades, and then implementing those things, and seeing the results, the benefits of it. That's really what I've been seeing this week or the past 7 days to be exact. So I've been getting a lot of benefits, a lot of positive feedback, an abundance of it from all angles in life. You know, I've probably been semi-tried one time by my wife, but I was so like on a high of just being endowed in the word and just, feeling uh good, you know what I'm saying? As I should. It didn't phase me, it didn't affect me. It was really, uh comical in this way, and
Okay.
when things keep coming, it's I talk to some of my mentees like if you know you're in a boxing ring, you keep getting punched on the right, it's only wise for you to go ahead and dodge that hook, you know what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
move around. So it's just been implementing wisdom, implementing knowledge, man, implementing the word. Like I said, just reaping the benefits of those things in all aspects of life. So everywhere from colleagues, from friends, from random associates to my kids, teachers. Um, I actually had a great conversation with my father the other day for about 3 hours.
Your
And
father?
yeah, yeah,
Outstanding.
absolutely. And the level got implemented and it was a high level of praise, unexpectedly, if you would. So, like I said, it's been great. It's been great on my end. You know what I'm saying? No complaints. So,
So you think some of this stuff is helping you?
oh, absolutely, absolutely,
Okay. Brother Moore, how
absolutely.
you doing?
I'm all right, brother. How about you guys?
Good, good. Any testimonies, any problems, any challenges? And if
Um,
so, how did you man up to them?
only problem. I was under the weather. Probably, I think I had came down with COVID this weekend. You know, taste buds gone and everything like that. I was out doing insurance seminars, so as far as things like that, I, my testimony, life is getting better with things like with my grassroots, like opportunities to attract new customers and clients. So that is going along, especially, I'm praying and I'm applying the stuff that we're going through. And then now it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to expect these things, like health wise, you got to take care of yourself because this stuff come up on you. And that right there can be a hindrance to the progress that you're trying to make if you let it. But other than that, I'm doing good. I'm prayed up and I'm blessed, brother.
Okay. All right. Brothers, anything noteworthy happen?
Not really this week. Everything has actually been pretty smooth sailing on my part. Uh, like I say, things have been going pretty decently. Haven't had any challenges with the wife. Hadn't had anything going on at the job more than this. So uh, I can't complain. It's just been one good week.
I got you. I got you. Well, we're going to talk about, I kind of coined this one, and for introductory purposes, this is our weekly Wisdom Wednesday Zoom meeting where we talk about manhood and manly things and how to get our act together. As one brother like to say, we need to stand 10 toes down,
Right.
stand steadfast. And so if we don't, we wind up moving back and forth uh, every time the wind blows.
Yes, sir.
So it's just a matter of deciding what we're going to do. And I always say men make decisions and then they make those decisions right.
Hmm.
And that's the only way a man can make his decision right is through a four-letter word that a lot of people don't like:
Work.
work. That's it. So, Brother Walker, you ready to talk to us? Okay, he'll come on in a minute. But this week we're gonna talk a little bit about, is your manhood intact? TACT. Okay. Do you have it under control? And it's 7 ways to maintain your manhood is what I looked up and so forth. Um, and I did like Thomas, so to speak. I went to the Word, to the Bible, to find some stuff out about men. And one thing noteworthy is in Genesis 2, verse 15. It says, nothing should stand in between man and his work. I remember years ago, decades ago, I was told that women would kick you if you making money and not spending time with them, and they will kick you if you're spending time with them and you don't have enough money. So the best thing to do is to make your money.
Exactly.
Okay. So that kind of coincides with Genesis 2:15, where it says, nothing stands in between man and his work. The other thing I learned as a young man was to compartmentalize situations. In other words, if we have an argument, a really high level discussion, disagreement, and I got to go talk to a customer, I need to be able to shut you down or ignore you and put you in a space and go take care of my business.
Yes, sir.
This thing about somebody messing with you and ruining your whole day, that's not manly. Especially when we're trying to feed a family and take care of ourselves, our family, and so forth. Right?
Right.
So,
100%.
um, anyway, Brother Walker, okay. One of the things that this conversation, these Wednesday meetings do is put us in association with one another.
Yes, sir.
So I think we all after pretty much the same thing, and that's to elevate our life. Um, John F. Kennedy once said, rising tide causes all ships to lift guys up. So a rising tide will raise everything that's afloat. And you know, when we start talking about testimonies and how we are moving up and things are happening, good things are happening, that should inspire the next man. Or if you're talking about it, it should give me hope. Okay? And you can go back to Jeremiah 29:11, where God said he had a plan and a future for us, a plan and a future of hope. So, but in order to maintain your manhood, you're going to have a good association. We all have heard the tales about you can count your friends on one hand and
Yes, sir.
have fingers left over.
Right.
Anybody know how that's done? Take your hand and ball it up like this and make a fist.
Right.
Then put your thumb across the fingers. The fingers your hand your thumb cover. Those are your friends. So you have those extra fingers. So I've seen some guys where they had three. I got two. Okay,
Right.
that's it. Um, and so we got to maintain those associations. Have anybody made any new acquaintances, establishing a new association?
Yeah.
Why is my hand up? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you meet anybody interesting this week?
Yeah, so I met a couple of Mason brothers. I met a one Prince Hall brother here at the store. Then I met another one when I was out shopping and stuff with my wife, and I actually still had some cards, so I gave him one of your cards. He's talking about he's interested in joining the order, so uh, I never had anything else printed up. I looked at my wallet. I still had a little wallet back there. Saying, you know what? Get this guy a call. He can get you hooked up.
Why didn't you take him under your wing?
Sir,
Why didn't you take him under your wing?
under my wing. Well, like I said, basically, I hadn't really got established with a lodge here in Las Vegas, and I don't plan on being staying here in Las Vegas. I plan on coming back to Texas. So I got, also I got my cousin down here, and I told him the same thing. He's like, "So what are you gonna do?" I'm like, "I'm definitely probably not starting the lodge here. I'm trying to hit the
I got
highway.
you.
Something bound here."
Trying to go home, huh?
Brother Walker,
Well, it's not wrong, but it's close enough.
Yes, I'm here.
how are you, sir?
Uh, preparing for tomorrow.
Okay, well, real quick, we were trying to find out if you had any fun challenges, opportunities over the past week or two. How did you solve them? Have these Wednesday meetings been a help to you or what?
Yeah. Action taken. As far as opportunities, I got two companies that I took over within the last week and a half, and I've just been implementing that in my real life schedule. So I'm kind of adapting to that, but as far as challenges, it's more like putting everything on the schedule to perform everything in a good timely fashion. Of course, because when you get more work, you got to kind of like stretch yourself out. But the more uncomfortable you get, the better it is. You don't want to be when you're just too comfortable. You stay there.
Them good problems. Them good
Yeah.
problems, brother.
Or,
Yeah,
or what could I say? You know how they say gold is refined, but you gotta,
under pressure.
yeah,
Gotta
under
keep that
pressure.
pressure
So
going. All right.
yeah, I'm under pressure. Like I gotta get up in 4 hours. I said, man,
Well, hey, you're a young man, so
You can
pay
do
it
it.
up. You got
yeah,
to
that's
pay the
the
price.
guy. You sound like the guy that I got it from. He said, "You be young, you're all right." I said, "Man, good." I said, "Have a good retirement, buddy." I'm screwed. But I mean, this meeting definitely pushed me there because a lot of stuff was like implementing stuff in real life because I think the one meeting which I should have came because we were supposed to do a testimony. But once I got off that call, I was like, okay, let me go find something that I can actually do and bring to the Wednesday meeting. So push me to be a better person because I was like, well, let me go try to do something that show everybody else, well, all the brothers on this call.
Okay. Well, if things are good or happening, you should be inviting some other men to this call, and they do not have to be Masons. Point of
Okay.
information.
Okay.
We're talking about establishing associations, and they say you have friends, associates, and acquaintances. So acquaintances are just people you know their name, maybe see them every blue moon. Associates you fellowship with a little bit, and then the friends are the ones that you can really count on. So we have to, as I like to say, expand our area of influence. And the only real way to do that is to be honest and conscious of your character. You got to know
And
who
can
you.
you repeat that?
I
Those
said,
three definitions for friends, acquaintances, and associates.
yeah, friends are the ones you can count on.
All
Those are
right.
the ones that you can trust with what's valuable to you.
All right.
Acquaintances, associates, you fellowship with every once in a while, decent relationship, but they're not in your inner circle. And then acquaintances are just people you know. You
Right.
know, loved, or you met. So the whole idea is to move acquaintances to associates to friends.
Right.
Okay. And the reason for that is as your circle of friends grow, and as I've been told, in God we trust, everybody else we test. And some people we test twice
Mm.
before you actually make them a friend. But the reason you want to move them along that line is because as your friend circle increases, your circle of influence increase, and that way you have more people to pull from what you need from, and or to give what
What you got?
others need.
To
Mm.
share and enjoy with.
Okay, so life is definitely built on relationships, and again, this title is your manhood intact? When a brother needs to call you, when a friend needs to call you, or someone calls you for aid and assistance, they need to know that you can be counted on.
Mm.
You know, a lot of women want you to be nicer, say things nicer, and so forth. But when they need something, guess who they're gonna call? That
Okay.
card carrying, uh, God dog it, what's the term? They card carrying male chauvinist pig.
Yes, sir.
Now y'all know what Walker. You about the youngest one. You know what a male chauvinist is?
No, I was going to ask you myself. I said, what the? I said, is that the one with the black credit card? The $100,000 credit limit? That's what they call it.
The male chauvinist is the one that believes he's the leader. He's gonna take care of his woman. He's gonna take care of his business. And he don't play games. He's not that little wussy uh, uh, guy like a lot of men are nowadays.
He's not a beta male.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's not a
gotcha.
beta male. He is strictly alpha. And I had a young lady one time call me, brother, where are you? You a male chauvinist? I say I'm a card carrying member.
I know that's right.
And
I
I
know.
said, and if you need some help, are you gonna call that little Nancy, that little polite guy, or you gonna call a male chauvinist? Oh, I'm gonna call a male chauvinist because I know it will get done.
Yes, sir.
And that's
Yes,
what
sir.
manhood is all about. We say it, we do it. We do it because we said it. But again, you got to be conscious of your character and know your flaws. Because again, you do it because you said it, and you said what you did. So it's all about being a man of your word and so forth. Okay. Also, when we talk about having our manhood intact, let's talk about determination. What does that mean? Talk to us about it?
Talk about what determination.
Yeah, because you've made decisions, John Moore, and then petered out on
Mm.
them.
Wow.
We all have. Come on now. Tell
Now
the
we
truth
all
and shame the devil.
listen. We all have.
And how
You
did
know,
you feel?
if I make a decision and I don't stick to the decision that I make, you don't feel good inside. You know what I'm saying? Because you probably not only letting yourself down, you're letting others down too. If you promise to do something, you know. But I learned early, don't say things that if I ain't gonna do it, I ain't gonna put myself out there. I ain't gonna volunteer to make myself a target, to let people down. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna make sure that I can do it before I be like, yeah, I'm gonna say something just to look good, to sound good, and then next thing you know, I don't show up because that's good. Like it's good that I had a father in my life that taught me that. You know what I'm saying? Be a man of your word. Say what you mean and mean what you say, and always do what you say you gonna do. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I definitely try to make that a habit now. But like you said, we all have fallen short. We all have fallen short. But and in those times where I have fallen short, I I was younger for one, and then I was, you know what I'm saying. I wasn't true to myself and true to my word. But now that I know that my word means something, I definitely stand by my word now.
Okay. Brother Walker, you got anything to add about determination?
Well, when you determine on something, you want to, it's something that you're destined and you're trying to put in the work to achieve. But normally, when you put it in a plan, it never goes exactly how you want it to. So you have to be determined and get revelation and pray on that you're making the right decision, because you could be determined to get a fitness goal or make a certain amount of money per month, but something might try to like get you off of that goal. So you want to make sure that you actually are focused and you can encounter those problems to make sure you achieve your goal.
Now you say something will try and get you off the path, off the goal.
Yeah, it could be
What's the something?
as far as men,
Everything has a name.
yeah, it could be females. It could
Number
be
one.
bad relationships, family members cussing you out. You could be, yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, I'm checking it off. It's like you could be trying to do a job, and that's when your sister call you and start cussing you out and they will
Why?
distract you. So if you're determined, you're focused on achieving. It's your drive to get up. And you want to make a decision that you're gonna. I'm determined to make this happen. But it's like soon as you make that decision, okay, I'm gonna make this happen. It's like you almost like the devil just throws you more things to see if you really want what you want. Like this one guy would told me that if once you focus on what you want, that's when everything in the whole world is going to test you to
Mm.
make sure that if that's what you really want.
Okay. Any other comments on that?
Yeah, when you talk about determination, it brings to mind the testing of fortitude. Like you said, you test things and you retest them, and people will try to test your resolve, but you have to have your mind made up that no matter what's going on, that you're going for it. This is going to happen, and nothing's going to stop it.
I want to add to that. Even not necessarily, it don't always be people in our immediate circle. It's just like when you got a goal, especially a worthy goal, like starting a business, fitness goal, anything like that. Then there's always situations like how you say all the time, Grant. You was like, you can't get pregnant, all kinds of foolishness come your way when you're trying to work towards something. You know what I mean? Because complete strangers can create a circumstance that if you engage in a particular circumstance, it can throw you off your square, like off your purpose, just by giving a little bit of attention to that particular thing, and then that's where it comes in. Do you really want what you say you want? If you gonna stick to it, stick to the plan, and keep going and keep pushing, no matter what you come up against.
Okay. Any words of wisdom there, Brother Thomas?
Well, it's funny because I was going to ask you that. What words of wisdom do you got for us? But you passed it to me
Come,
first.
let me, since I'm the old guy, old dog in the group here, I'm gonna use the
Yeah.
old dog term. From hell
All
or
right,
high
what you got?
water.
I know that's right.
There we
Okay.
go.
Uh, I can remember back in '94, I quit my job to go into the insurance business, and that weekend, Houston had a big flood, a big storm, hurricane. So people homes and all that kind of good stuff was messed up. And I just quit my job on Friday. And here it is Saturday and Sunday. All hell broke loose as far as the weather was concerned. So I'm going, do I cower down, go back and ask for my job back? Or what do I do? And it came to my mind, the Spirit told me, said, you know what? It's just a test. So I girded up, stayed, held my position, and I've never had a job since. Bottom line. I always say there's three evils. We got the world, we got the devil, the world, and our flesh.
Flesh.
Those are the three evils that we have to fight. So when we talk about determination, you're at a disadvantage, really.
Absolutely.
Unless you get that spiritual connection. Then you can stand 10 toes down. So help me, God, and keep me steadfast. So determination is something that, I mean, what has been your experience with other men's determination? I mean, how many of them have told you what they were going to do, agreed to do something, and really held true to their word? What percentage would you say?
Not a lot. Well, it's like 50-50. But to piggyback on what you said and what Brother Walker said, hell and hot water. You had asked him what that something was, and then you said, the devil, the world, and the flesh. What I've came to notice is the lack of focus. That's what that something is, the dissemination of focus. And so in the world that we live in, there's so many ads, there's so many new things coming up. Everything sounds good. And so, you like to use the word fickle. And so individuals going here and there, etc. And so if you're doing that, you can't plant your seed. You can't stay in one spot. You can be steadfast, but they tend not to. And so when they be like, oh, I'll be there, shit, if it's less than 5 minutes, their attention span so small, so short. When it's time to follow through on what they said they will do before you look up, uh, they didn't forgot, or they ain't remember, or they gone. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why that circle is real small. And it's for us to be that example and follow up with our word and be a man of our word and stay steadfast. So, you know, individuals can have an example on what that is and keep that connection with God, because that's really what's gonna do it. That's
Well,
really what's gonna do it.
how is your y'all gotta go back to my book. How is your focus disturbed or broken? How do I break your focus?
So how do you break one's focus?
Yeah.
How do
Temptation.
you break how do you break mine or someone's in general?
Yours or anybody's. How is a person's focus broken?
Um,
By having a weak mindset or knowing what to distract them with. It's
hmm,
different for everybody. If
right.
you like to smoke cigarettes and I got cigarettes, your
That's
focus is broke.
Yeah,
exactly.
I would say um the main thing I've seen is with people's vices, whether that be women, alcohol, drugs, entertainment. That's the main thing I've noticed, especially with some people around me. They can't just get over the vices that they have, and that's what kind of pull them away from some of the things they want to do.
I'm
Temptations,
gonna summarize that banjo by saying distractions.
distractions, absolutely. Distracting
Distraction.
them.
Also delays, deception. So you really do have to have your eyes open when you decide on something and you're going to focus on it, because distractions, delays, deceptions, disappointments will definitely come your way.
Definitely, definitely. But
Yeah.
disappointments though, um, and that's based on the understanding that I have now, are just temporary setbacks. You know what I mean? Now, prior to the knowledge that I'm coming into from being around men like yourself and these brothers on, you know what I'm saying, this meeting here, but and prior to studying Napoleon Hill, those definite disappointments probably would have took more of a toll. But now I understand that that's a part of life because we all of us want to be successful. You know, most sound minded people want to be successful, right? No one wants to fail or shouldn't want to fail. But I feel like in our community, because failure looks like it's so rampant to where we feel like we're on a time crunch, and when we run into any obstacle and it hinders us from reaching a worthy goal, like in a certain time frame, we might get distracted. But when you understand that sometimes failure, you can fail your way to the top. It's a part of this. It's a part of the process. You know what I'm saying? So,
Okay.
But that's
right,
why he said delay,
right,
because the
even
delay is a temporary thing, and that's why he always says work. And
right,
so it's an equation. If you're doing 5 steps backward and 1 step forward, then you're gonna be in a negative position because emphatically you're always gonna be more backwards than you are forward. But if you're working more, being more progressive, then those distractions, those delays, those things that come up are temporary. We all go through it. But if it's 5 steps forward, 1 or 2 steps backward, you're making progress. And then if we
right,
just rewind and make it, you know, real simple, 1% every day, compound in 100 days, you're 100% better.
exactly.
And
But
so
that's
we
part.
just
But
don't
that's
let that stuff eat
right.
us up and make it bigger than what it actually is. That's what happens in the culture. They they
Exactly.
they
That's what
they
I'm
had a
saying.
victim mentality and make it more than
Right.
what it needs to be. Like, oh, this happened. It's like, okay, it happened to your mama, to your daddy, to your brother, to your sister, to your cousin, to your niece, to your nephew. Like everybody got a little sick. COVID it's just called COVID. Everybody had the flu. Like for an
Right.
example, you know what I'm saying? But everything hits people differently. So it's about your mindset. How you let it personally affect you. But your relationship with God would allow you to view it and handle things differently. And with us being men, we should be able to, hey, brace for it, differently than others.
Well, that's why I always say you have to have a doctrine. And see, when we start talking about deception, delays, disappointments, and distractions,
Get in the bed.
if you look at Romans 8:28, and y'all just made me think about it, so I had to find it. And we know all things work together for the good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. So if all things work together for the good, is delays, distractions, disappointments, deceptions good or bad?
Because you can't fail.
They,
It's
they,
a
they're,
part of
they're
the
good.
recipe.
Yeah, exactly. They're good. If all things work to the betterment of the good.
Depending on what you learn from 'em.
Absolutely, Banjo. You hit the nail on the head. Okay. I heard somewhere here since we've been doing these talks and so forth, there's no such thing as failure. It's just a lesson learned. If you are looking, and if you're looking for the lesson that comes out of distraction, delay, disappointment, and whatever that other D word was, then you don't. It doesn't affect your attitude, your mindset like it would normal people.
In a
So I
negative
go
way.
back to ask you, what percentage of the people, of the men you know, have that type of control over their
Vessel.
attitude, character, and mindset? Give me a percentage more.
I got. I'm gonna say probably 10%. Only 10%.
What do you think, Walker?
I was at 1%.
Okay.
But I wanted to speak on the like you said, delays. And
Yeah.
that Bible verse came to me as well. All things God work out for good. And I used to tell people, like, they say, "Hey, man, you're you're doing good. I'm proud of you." And I appreciate love, but I would tell people I failed 1,000 times, these are just three wins. So
Yeah.
they don't see that, like when you're an entrepreneur and you're, oh, how to start an email list, and you don't know how you put money in certain businesses and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like they only see the wins,
They think
and
it
it's like
just
you have to be able to pick yourself up and keep going. But there's another Bible verse that I really like, and it says the righteous will have many problems, but the Lord God will deliver you from them all. So anytime I have problems where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of getting hit by all sides, I just always pray and be like, okay, I know God's going to deliver me or anyone else out of this situation as long as you stay focused and stay prayed up.
Okay. So your friends, your associates, and maybe even some of your acquaintances are aware of the problems you're having and the seeming failure that you encountered. How do you handle that? Because we all want people to think the best of us. We're all concerned about our image. And if I made a bad mistake or made a mistake or an error and I fall, how do you address that?
Well, you want to be, you know, never be discouraged, but and you shouldn't want to compete against other people because we all fall short of the glory of God. So no
yeah.
one's you could be perfect on paper, but you probably definitely ain't perfect under him. So and one thing I like to what I tell people is, hey, Jesus hung with a lot of different people. Some were tax collectors, and some people were like, what could you say, criminals before they became like some of the main people that we read about in religions today. Like my favorite one is I tell people about Psalms and Proverbs, like King David.
Hey,
Um, he was like killing whole like villages and stuff like that. So you can't really just, I mean, you just got to keep pushing. You can't really worry about what people think about you.
Yeah. I think it's about how you express that information. Um, like I had mentioned to you brothers earlier about having that 3 hour conversation. I think why it went so well is I shared some information with him with something that was a low point of my life. And the way that I shared that information to him was, I guess, graceful in the manner where he opened up to me and started sharing things with me that he hasn't told any of his family members and or children. My dad is one that essentially keep things to himself. So it was a respect thing where he was like, I shared a low point, but I shared it lightly
Okay.
because I told him that the information that I shared was something that somebody wouldn't essentially say the way that I said it. I said it graceful. Like I said it in the capacity where I didn't care if he gave any negative feedback or not. I didn't care if he gave any judgment or not. I didn't care if anybody else did it. Um, but I let him know the reason why I was so light with it is because I prayed and asked God about the decision that I made before I made that decision. And when
Okay.
I told him about how I came about the conclusion and implementing the wisdom for that decision that I made, he took that as a manly respect thing. And then I could feel it in his spirit. He just opened up and just started telling me things. And I was like, whoa, where's this coming from? But he felt comfortable to share that information with me because of what I shared with him. And so when we give and share things to people, I think, with you granted in the position that you're in, I'm pretty sure people throw stuff to you all the time. And they feel comfortable with it because it's the way that you receive it. And then also, if you share something with them, you're not doing it from a low level and bickering and complaining about it. It's just, hey, this is what happened in my life. This is what I did. You make light of it with the grace of God of allowing you to overcome that situation. You know what I'm saying? And so when we
Yeah.
operate like that in a manly capacity with implementing strength with it, implementing that God carried you through that situation, then in their minds, in their spirits, they get some type of inspiration from that. And when you're dealing with a good individual, another godly individual, they're either gonna receive that and muster up some energy of being able to do the same thing in their life, or they're gonna open up to you and share some things with you that they haven't shared with anybody else. And so I think it's all about who you're dealing with, but like I literally just went through that exact situation and it was something that I didn't want to share with anybody you know, for a long time because I was judging myself about it. I'm like, man, am I a bad dad for doing this? Blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, yeah,
Well, now
I'm not perfect.
was this the first time when had you ever had this kind of conversation with your father before?
No, because I didn't make amends to it with God, right? So it was something that I was telling him I was contemplating uh personally about. You know what I'm saying? I was carrying that burden on my own shoulders. Like I could make the decision or not make the decision accordingly. And so more of the stories that has to do with my older son and
Well, we don't
about
need to know the story,
yeah,
but
well, I'm trying to, you know,
your father's a pastor, right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And
Okay,
so the
and
way
this
he
is the
looks at
first time you sat down in a manly way and really
yeah,
shared with.
yeah, was sharing something from my manhood and life, and so he just respected it in the capacity where he put his pastor robe up and then start talking about, manhood stuff, manhood shit about his life. We're like, damn son, I ain't perfect, and then he just boom. And that was the first time because usually he operates in the capacity of being a pastor, being perfect. And so that was the first time I seen that from him. You know what I'm saying? And so that was cool
Outstanding.
on both sides, right?
Okay,
And so, that's where we was at with it.
outstanding. Well, and that's the thing. We got to be unashamed, and sometimes we have to be the bigger man. And it's one of those things where God wants you to put you and your masculine spirit and the full weight of your masculinity on display. Because if you're comfortable in your masculinity, then what do you have to be ashamed of?
Right.
If you're operating from your manhood, okay, then what do you have to be ashamed of? Who makes who always make the right decision?
No one.
And what I like to say is you make a decision and you make it right. And that's
Mm,
it.
Right.
Masculinity say, I'm gonna get it done, come hell or high water.
mm,
If I gotta
Owning up
call
to it.
Walker or Moore or Thomas and say, hey, I need some help, but I'm gonna get it done. And that's what this is all about. The association, the determination, and not being ashamed. And then when we do run into the delays, deceptions, disappointments, and so forth, we got to be resilient. We got to keep going. Fortitude, as brothers had mentioned earlier, you got to have fortitude because the word says a good man will fall 7 times.
mm.
Is that good or bad?
That's good because it's the righteous man will fall 7 times and rise again.
Yeah,
So that's pretty much telling you, like, if you encounter problems, just as long as you put in God and, like you said, standing on your ground. Because if you call someone to, like you said, any other brother for help, and you're going to make it happen, that's what you're going to do. So that's the key because it's going to come. And no one's going to hit. You're not going to home run everything you do in life. That's impossible. So, some people think, oh, I tried that for a little bit and it didn't work. Well, try something else. Or how about that? Try it again. Try it this month.
Yeah.
Try
That
it again
experience.
tomorrow.
And my dad used to say, if you get knocked down, right, and you flat on your back, if you open your eyes and you can look up, that means you can get up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And in Marine Corps boot camp, right, you know how, or any boot camp, guys, they be being pushed to the max, but then they be like, I'm gonna faint and this and that. The drill instructor or the drill sergeant will be like, if you can say it and you're crying, then you can still do it. You can keep going. You
I
I
know.
feel
said
me?
build character, right? And so
Exactly.
Psalms 112:7 says, they will have no fear of bad news. Their hearts are steadfast, trusting in the Lord. Right. And so that's kind of running back to what Grant was talking about, where all things work together for our good. If we trust in with God, bro, it's kind of like all the points is go be in our favor, no matter what.
Yes, sir.
You see, one of the things we keep talking about is challenges and opportunities that we have as men. And if you go back to creation, men were, everything was put in the Garden of Eden. Nothing grew, nothing happened. It didn't even rain to nourish the plants until God put man there.
Hmm.
Now go read it for yourself. That's what the Bible says. Once man was put there, then everything started moving. And here we are in 2025, and people are challenging you and your manhood, wanting you to become. Uh, I use the word my daughter used to use. They want you to become Nancy's, powder puffs.
Yeah.
So you have to decide whether you're going to be true to creation or not.
Hmm.
Okay. A lot of women are looking to negate creation. They're smarter than you. They're tougher than you. They got football teams, basketball teams. They can do what anything a man can do.
And they
Real.
make more money.
Huh?
And they make more money.
Yeah, yeah. In some cases, that's right.
Yeah.
But when you're laying in the bed and that knock come on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning, what are they gonna say?
Go get it. Go check it out.
John, go see who's at the door.
See who's at the door. Somebody at the door.
Sometimes when we coming home, me and my wife, I open the door. I say, "Go in and check and see if everything's okay."
I know.
She be looking at you like you crazy,
What
right?
you gonna get? You got a reminder.
So we have to stand steadfast in our manhood and our masculinity. So the phrase again, this topic was, is your manhood intact? And if you got it intact, expect confrontations, challenges, and so forth from those that around you. That's just the way it is. So it's not what you say, it's how you say
That's a conversation for another day.
it.
Go
Eat the meat, throw away the bone.
away the bone.
We go out to eat. I like a bone-in steak. I eat the meat. I bring the bone to my dog. So
Right.
anything else? We right on time, so to speak. Brothers, you've been listening or what?
Not really. I didn't get a chance to listen as much as I want to. I had a situation up here, and
Okay, but you got anything to say?
uh, I guess just be a man of your word and do what all men need to do. Like you said, go to work. Got to solve 90% of your problems, and just try to stand on the word and stand on your word. My daddy always used to tell me, son, be a man of your word and word of your man. So you say you're gonna do something, do it.
Outstanding. Brother Walker, any closing comments?
Like you said, just keep faith. Because the world's going to test you, especially when you're standing on those principles. Because everything's changing to make men a lot weaker in this generation. They want stuff for free. They don't want to put in work. So want to stay on those principles and put your faith in God.
Okay. Brother William, Thomas?
Yeah, it was a great topic, great conversation. I appreciate everything the brothers shared, and God bless everybody. I look forward to the next call.
I hear you. Brother Johnson, how you doing?
Good, sir. Just getting settled down from work. Last day of the month. Gotta get it. Gotta get it.
I hear you. What's that thing on your head?
I'm trying to get these
Anyway,
wings.
Brother Moore, you got anything to say?
Yeah, just brothers, just keep your head up, keep the faith, and let's put in the work. And you know, there's no shame when we don't hit home runs all the time because I don't even think Babe Ruth hit home runs all the time. You know what I
No,
mean?
they said I think they said Michael Jordan or someone missed so much free throws, and until he that they don't count the ones that he missed, they only count the ones he made.
Okay.
They fell forward, fell forward.
Well, um, Brother Banjo, you have anything you want to
Um, this might sound weird, but sometimes, depending on what the situation is, if I'm journaling and I fail in a certain aspect of life, I'll write it down and I'll come back to it in a week or a month, and then I'll, try to interpret how I failed in the situation, especially in regards to being married. Communication is big. You can oftentimes fail the way you communicate stuff to your spouse. So sometimes it's good to write down your failures and then try to learn from them, because sometimes you'll fail in something time and time again and you're not paying attention to the failure. But if you write it down and you start interpreting the patterns and seeing how it is or how you can change it or fix it, you can change that habit of failing in certain aspects.
add? Have you all ever seen one of these?
Absolutely, absolutely.
You can get one of these and write front and back pages and so forth. And like he said, journal and make sure you got records about of how you're traveling. Keep a record.
Yeah,
That's why when I have, and some of you have seen my Bible, I write in my Bible. In my ritual book, I write in it because I want to know what I thought about and what revelation I was given on April 30th, 2025. Because when I read it again in August, I'm gonna get a totally new revelation. But I don't want to forget the other one either. So you kind of track your thought process there. I'm going to say that most men run around here with bottled up emotions and they give up on their purpose. Okay. And so they do wind up relying on alcohol, women, drugs, gambling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which are all distractions. So men desire to be, we are competitive by nature, and the world would want us to believe that we all are just alike, when in fact we all were given a separate purpose on assignment. And you got to own up to your assignment. You got to own up to your purpose. And so when you do that, life is happier because the world wants everybody to be alike, which means everybody's easier to control if they all are alike. And they try and make us complacent. So the more independent a man is, the more difficult it is to control him. Free thought is feared. Hello. Let me say that again. Free thought. When you think for yourself, I'm talking critical thinking, whatever the case may be, you are able to dissect this meeting. You're able to dissect a sermon or a passage that you read in a book or whatever, dissect it, digest it, and then apply it. When you can think for yourself, you are feared because you're not status quo. Now, let me say this and we're going to cut it off. People pleasing will make you popular, but never make you powerful.
Or don't be a Saul. Saul please the people.
Don't be a who?
Saul in the Bible,
Okay.
he wanted to please the people because what he thought they would think of him instead of doing what God wanted him to do.
That's it. You can never make them happy. You can never make them happy. And they're gonna go around and you almost broke your neck trying to make them happy. And they're gonna still kick you in the butt.
It's
So
dang, what's it, Grant? Dang if you do, dang if you don't. That's what I say.
yeah, let's go back. Your wife is happy if she's mad at you if you make it bringing money home, but not spending a bunch of time. Okay, or she mad if you all at home all the time and not bringing enough money. So you and the way it goes, Walker, I understand you're nice, but it says damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yes, sir. I know.
So you
I
might
didn't
as
know she
well
had the
make your
Bible.
money. You might as well make your money, fellas. And in order to make your money, you're gonna have to be different.
Yes, sir. That's what I said. I said you must want somebody broke. You've been gone for 13 hours. I said, what you want? You want me to do? Sit on the couch and watch Netflix?
13 hours. She said that 13 hours.
Yeah, you been gone 13 hours. I said, the bills don't pay itself.
Hey, that's the example. With that in mind, we're gonna disconnect and look. Have a good week. Keep your eyes open for. Just be watchful. Be watchful for what's good and what's bad. And there's a hint. There's no bad. So uh, all minuses wind up being pluses. Okay. So we'll talk about that next week. And you all have my number. If you call me if you have any questions or concerns. Brother Banjo, we're going to talk to you probably in a day or so about your membership. And we're going from there.
10-4.
Love y'all, brothers.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one.
That's right. All right.
Thank you. Brother Johnson, give me a call.